Recording in progress.
Thank you again, everyone. We'll now start the press conference for Seattle Sounders. We welcome head coach Brian Schmetzer. Thank you very much. Once again, a reminder for everyone in the room, there's translation, we'll have translations here for questions in English, Spanish, but there's also the simultaneous translation via Zoom. Muchas gracias por la participación. Vamos a empezar ahora la conferencia de prensa de Seattle Sounders con el entrenador Brian Schmetzer. Muchas gracias, bienvenido. We'll start with some questions in the room.
Welcome. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Brian Schmetzer. Brian, can you, after the 25th minute, what adjustments did you make from the back line and your mid-block? They get that goal disallowed, and then there seems to be a tide that shifted there.
Very similar to our game against Necaxa. Yep. I was just speaking with some of the Pumas people there in the hallway, and the coach, Gustavo, is a very good coach, very respectful. I appreciate that very much. Yes, the game changed. That's a good team. This was an exciting game. I mean, they came out and they were playing, they're good, they have talented players. We had to fight for things. You know, we gave up the goal, but it was offside, Maz. It was offside. We watch it on the film, and, you know, that's, you know, just kind of one of those things. Momentum shifts in games, and how does your team and how does your opponent adjust after those emotional moments? And I think our team kind of resolve, is that the right word I want to use? They kind of said, okay, all right, this is a game. This is a game. And that's what I was most proud of. I mean, I'm proud of a lot of, you know, individual things, and hopefully some of the questions will bring those out. But what I'm most proud about this group is against Necaxa, when things kind of just shift sideways, we didn't have an answer. And tonight, when Pumas was on top of us and they got the goal and things were going in their way, we shifted that momentum. We brought it back to ourselves. And that's what I'm most proud about that group. That was a statement by that group that, you know what, we're going to do good things this year.
Yeah, speaking of some of the players I imagine that you were happy with, Albert Rusnak obviously came through big time. Jordan Morris, great goal. And I don't know if you could just speak a little bit about that sequence at the end where I assume he wanted the penalty, he drew the penalty, and of course he converts it. I mean, I don't know, it seems like a step up for him.
Well, our crack stats team had verified that this was Jordan Morris's first penalty kick for the team. And so I'm extremely proud that Jordan number one, stood up for himself, because that wasn't a nice tackle. It was not a nice tackle. He could have been injured on that play. And he jumped up and he got in that guy's face, and that, in my opinion, was very good. And whether it was calculated or not, whether, you know, Jordan just is trying to shed the nice guy image that he has, he earned that penalty. He stood up for himself. He buried the penalty. And that shows that he cares and that he was going to do whatever it takes to help his team in that moment. He's going to take care of himself in that moment. And that was a really, really proud moment for me, because he gets it. He wants to win.
Brian, speaking of gutsy performances, Paul Rothrock, not only did he score, but his ability to at the end of the game keep his composure after being extremely cheap shot. Let's just keep it for what it is. But then the secondary pieces that happen, which is, it probably won't be talked about very much, but his teammates coming and not only standing up for him, but Reed coming in there and standing up for his teammate and just creating that trust that you're going to get from your teammates when something's going wrong in that sense, and then capitalize on that and create that camaraderie.
We needed that game, Jose. We needed that game. That was such an exciting game. I hope the fans that came here in the building enjoyed it. I hope the fans watching on TV enjoyed it. That was a good game. Even though the scoreline might indicate, it was a blowout, there were ebbs and flows, and certainly all those moments that you're talking about, intrigue, what are our players going to do? What are their players doing? The reason why Paul Rothrock was mobbed at the end of the game was because he nutmegged Huerta down there in the corner. They didn't like that. Pumas is a proud team. Huerta is one of their best. He's a $10 million player. He's a $10 million player. And here's our kid from Seattle's Capitol Hill putting the ball between his legs down in the corner. I know why the Pumas players were upset. Secondly, same as Jordan when Jeremiah asked that, Paul stuck up for himself and he kind of needled those kids. He's got a little bit of an edge to him, and they didn't like that. And that's something you need to have. And again, I'm very proud of Paul. I think his growth, it's a great story. When we write the history of this franchise, and who knows what the final outcome of this season is, one of the major talking points of this particular season is Paul Rothrock.
Hello, Coach Schmetzer, Rodrigo from Univision. What's your feelings about this game? You talk about in just your conference that you liked the wings of Pumas, Huerta and Rubalcaba and Julio Gonzalez. What's your sensations, your feeling about this game and scoring goals against Pumas in CONCACAF final 3-0, today 4-0, and cleaning and one and two clean sheets?
I think the games were closer. I remember in 2022, if we go back that far, because it's a different Pumas team, but the scoreline 3-0. Raul, I think, had 2 goals. It certainly was a good performance for us. But Puma was very good at the time. They were worthy champions. It was a hard game for us in 2022. Tonight, again, the scoreline was 4-0. But that game was close in the beginning of the game. The game shifted again when their goal got called back. That might have been a major factor. And so the clean sheet, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of my hardest decisions for this game, I was going to put Stefan Fry back in goal, but I wanted Andrew Thomas to play again because he might be playing in our Open Cup and different things. And I think Andrew Thomas had a very good game today. There were some shots from distance that the ball bounced, and he was clean with his handling. So he had a clean sheet tonight. I don't know what our stats team says. I know Stefan Fry is like second or third in our league with 112 clean sheets. And Andrew Thomas might have 4. It was a good performance by Andrew Thomas.
Thank you, Coach.
Brian, speaking of that clean sheet, just wanted your take on that defensive line, your back 4 and the physicality that they play with today. Holding and limiting Huerta and Rubalcaba, Funes Mori when he came in, Memo. That's a tough attacking end. So how would you describe how they work today and how they help that clean sheet?
I thought you saw a classic Alex Roldan performance. He was really good tonight. I know the highlight reel is when he brought the ball down and he dribbled past 3 guys. I know that's going to be the highlight reel, but the small things that you're talking about are his defending. And then we talked about knockout games against a good opponent, against a players that are very technically gifted. How many times we double teamed their wingers to prevent them from having an impact in the game, both with Christian on the right side and Paul Rothrock on the other side. I think that was a collective effort, and the team performed very well defensively.
And Coach, just real quick, when you hear that, Seattle shocked against LA Galaxy and beating LA Galaxy, and people are surprised that you beat Pumas this way, does it feel like you and this team are playing with a chip on their shoulder, or is that not a thing? I just wanted to get your take on those type of narratives of how people are shocked that Seattle's where they are right now.
Look, Nico, people know that we have a good team. There's certain people that might be shocked about this result. I'm not. I don't think you would be. You know enough about our squad. You know enough about the players and their pride in the club and how they can perform. Yeah, okay, maybe there's some up and downs in our season. I think the club has performed very well. And I would just repeat myself that, the further we go in this tournament, we're in an Open Cup semifinal. We still have a lot of league left to go. This is a group that can win more games, and let's see how the season ends.
Brian, the atmosphere today compared to Thursday was maybe a little bit more packed. There's a bunch of factors there. Can I ask what you thought of the atmosphere tonight and how you thought it impacted the game?
Loved it. I love the fans that came last game. I love the fans that came tonight. I think you had a lot of Pumas fans in the building, and they were loud, and it was good. The atmosphere was great. The game was an entertaining game. The game was a good soccer match. I hope that everybody that came in the stadium today enjoyed the atmosphere, got their money's worth. I hope they drank enough beer. I'm going to go back there, Maz, and have a, Corona, Cerveza, something. But, I hope everybody enjoyed the night, because I did, as a fan. Not just the coach, not just the winning coach, but I thought the atmosphere was great.
We have time for a couple of more here in the room, and then a couple of other ones via Zoom.
Felicitaciones por el triunfo. Luego del partido con el Necaxa, el Sandres ha dado un giro radical para mejor. Le han ganado a uno de los líderes de la MLS y hoy le han ganado a uno de los líderes de la Liga MX. A estas alturas, ¿cree usted haber encontrado el juego y el equipo ideal para lo que resta del año?
Congrats on the win. After the game with Necaxa, the team has taken a turn for better. They have just beaten the MLS leader on the previous game, and they have just beat one of the leaders of the Liga MX as well. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that you have found the team and the formation and the strategy to continue with this path for the rest of the season?
Excellent pregunta. Very good. This team that we started 2 games in a row has performed very well. And before, I didn't have a clear idea as to what our best team was for the rest of the season. But if this group continues to play well, then you have your answer.
Excelente pregunta. Este equipo es el equipo que hemos utilizado en los 2 últimos partidos seguidos y ha estado teniendo una muy buena actuación durante los partidos. Y si bien antes no tenía yo una idea clara de cuál iba a ser el equipo fijo que íbamos a tener, después de este partido puedo decirte que si este equipo sigue jugando como está jugando, es el equipo que debería continuar, y esa es la respuesta a tu pregunta.
Let I think you turned off my computer, but that's fine. Let's go with one more question here in the room.
Someone had mentioned him earlier tonight, but another person worth highlighting is obviously Albert Rusnak. What did you make of his performance and how he's been able to effectively impact the offense?
Good. His 13th assist of the entire year, all competitions. It's not often that Albert Rusnak has an assist with his head. Normally it's his clean passing and his, ability to put balls, but, he paid for it a little bit. He had a little ding in his rib cage, but it was a great assist and it was a better finish by Jordan.
Felipe?
Thank you, Felipe.
The game, as you said, it was very entertaining, not just for the moments of the play. Pumas had his moment, Sounders had their moment, but also the moments where the little fights that makes let us know where the team is standing for. It's not for the pushing and the pushback, but does that tell you something, what the team needed to do? You were saying back when play, the team didn't do things that needed it to win. You think that this fighting, this physicality is something that the team needs it to continue building?
For sure. Listen, I listened to the coach's interview in here, and he said that he wanted to compete in every game, every competition, and I appreciate that. I want my team to do the same. I love the fact that we were able to match and be physical at times, at the same time retain our composure, because that's important. Because when you lose composure, or you lose that physicality, it's not good for your team. So for me, again, one of the things I'm most proud of, again, I'll say it again, Jordan sticking up for himself. And again, when Andrew Thomas got hit, Jackson coming and saying, hey, no bueno, all of those little things were important in the result tonight.
Any follow on here in the room? Let me just see if there is another one here in Zoom.
Orlando Castellan.
Yep. Sorry, Coach.
It's okay. Tranquilo.
Tranquilo. Entonces está.
Está bueno el español.
All right, back in business here. Vamos a tomar preguntas desde Zoom. Tenemos acá Christian Moraes. Christian, por favor.
Good evening, Coach. Congratulations on qualifying. Christian Moraes from Território MLS Brasil. Coach, João Paulo wasn't an important part of the Sounders today. Is it correct to say that the Brazilian is one of the main names in the middle? And I'd also like you to talk about Léo Chu. He hasn't had many minutes in recent games. Thank you.
So Leo Chu will get some more minutes this year. That's not a story. The story that you asked, the first question that you asked, JP had a very good game tonight. I think his partnership with Obed Vargas is a very good one, and JP has been a tremendous player for us for many years.
We have one more here in Zoom for Sergio. Sergio?
Hi, thank you very much. This is Sergio Venegas from Pizarra Deportiva. Coach, every time that I have the chance to ask you, you always defeat Pumas. I remember on the final, the first leg, you have the tie. the second leg you just have the victory. Do you have the perfect recipe to defeat Pumas? And the second one is, do you know what is a meme? Here in Mexico, we have memes that Seattle Sounders just defeat Pumas every time. Is a classico, a classic. So what is the perfect recipe for Seattle Sounders just defeat Pumas? Thank you very much, and I wish you the best luck on the tournament.
Thank you. I don't know if I have the perfect recipe. I think the players were up for this game. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the fact that in Mexico there is good coverage of this game against Pumas. It's a very big club. It's a very rich history in the club. And there's a little bit of a rivalry between Seattle and Pumas. I actually enjoy that. I certainly enjoy the fact more that our team has been a little more successful than Pumas. I do enjoy that. But your stadium is great. It's historic. We love Mexico City. So there's many good things there. I don't have a recipe. What I would tell you is that those players in that locker room were ready for this game. And I know Gustavo had his team ready for this game. And so what you saw, again, was a very entertaining Leagues Cup match, and I hope everybody enjoyed the game.